Wait a minute, excuse me? I actually hit someone with that? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and this is part 3 of my weapons guide video, where today I'm looking at the SCARH in IRONSIGHT. Now to start things off, this isn't really my kind of weapon. This weapon is not really meant for running and gunning, but I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, and I'm going to start off in order with the damage numbers. Now to start it off, really, this weapon hits like a tank. At about 10 meters, you'll do roughly around 55 damage aiming for the head, 35 damage for the chest, and for the hands, about 30 damage, and the legs, 27 damage. Now, things start getting really bad once you end up getting into like around the 15-meter range, where you'll do 35 to the head, 20 to the chest, 20 to the hands, and then 17 damage to the legs. So, at about 10 meters, you're looking at about a 2 to 4 shot kill, 15 meters, about 3 to 5 shots. Now, of course, the damage numbers at 10 meters, you're looking at something very good, but even with all of these numbers factored in, this weapon, I'd say there's very few that rival it. I would say like the AK-47 and the SA-50 are the two guns that are your top challengers as far as the automatic weapons go in the category of assault rifles. But there's one thing I'm kind of leaving out as far as when it comes to the play style of this weapon. This is a high skilled weapon. Like, in the hands of the correct person, someone can absolutely destroy someone. Like, there's even times where I've been outperforming snipers in their performed range, because really the rate of fire is really good on this weapon, to the point where you can really tap fire, and putting a nice scope on it, you can really do good with this. And to the best of my knowledge, every time I've been using this weapon, if I've lost a gunfight, it was because of me, not the weapon. But really, you can say that with any sort of weapon. But as far as like the damage numbers performed, there's very few weapons that out damage this weapon. So the next thing I want to cover is the time to kill, or the TTK. Now, roughly around 10 meters, hitting every shot in the chest, the time to kill will be 0.15. That's ridiculously fast. That's almost like 5 frames. Now, around 10 meters, of course, hitting every shot in the chest, just similar as the other one, your time to kill will be roughly around 0.25. That's, of course, burst firing, and the weapon does have a substantial recoil pattern, but nothing that you can't control. But still, nonetheless, that's some still fast time to kill, at least for the 10-meter range. Now, the next thing I want to cover is the rate of fire overall. You'll fire about 9 rounds a second, 540 rounds per minute. That's pretty slow, but then you gotta end up thinking, again, the damage numbers are pretty high, so they had to balance it out with something. Now, the next two things I want to cover is the reloading and the aim down sight timer. That's going to be very important. I really want you guys to pay close attention to this one. But for reloading, with the skill quick reload equipped, for a short reload it'll be 1.35 for a short reload, remember, and for a full reload will be 2.11. That full reload, that is ridiculous, and it gets really bad when you don't have the skill quick reload equipped, because without this skill, a short reload will be 2.35 seconds and a full reload will be 3.2 seconds. You guys really want to make sure you reload as much as possible. Do not let your ammunition go dry, because 3 seconds, that is ridiculous. And with the time to kill being less than like about a fraction of a second, make sure you guys reload when you don't have at least like 1 round left in your chamber. Now the next thing will be the aim down sight timer. Now normally there is a skill that helps you aim down the sight faster. However, this skill does not work. Tested and proven. Aiming down the sight, the timer with and without the skill is 0.12. I've done this test multiple times, and even on some occasions with the skill equipped, it is actually 1 millisecond slower than it is without it. And as far as the test that I do is I perform like the moment that you see the character moving, I time from that moment to where the reticle actually gets to the center point. From there, it is actually slower. In some of my tests, it has been slower with the ADS timer. So at this moment right now, I would not recommend equipping the quick aiming perk. I'm not really sure off the top of my head what the name is. Just go no perk without that. Just skip over with something else, because the ADS timer is exactly the same with or without the skill. So with all that out of the way, now I want to tell you guys the skills that I use for this weapon that's been working personally for me. Now, the first skill I use is balance, and that's to reduce 50% of the recoil. I'm not really sure if it works. For me, I definitely feel like it definitely does reduce the recoil. Primarily, I'm just used to controlling the recoil overall. But for my first skill, I use balance. My second skill, I use double time, and that is very important. 50% movement increase while aiming. You're going to notice a lot in the footage that you see me in, I'm always like moving to the left and right, like I'm zigzagging. I'm never standing perfectly still while I'm aiming down the sight. And having that perk on, you can really throw off people's aiming with that. So I would definitely make sure that is like mandatory. Make sure you have double time. For the third one, it's really... It depends on exactly what you want. For me, I use long ears, and that's to hear enemy footsteps better. Now, I have a very nice audio setup, and I'm always on guard. I'm looking around the map a lot, so I'm always actually paying attention what's around me and my friendly teammates' position. So I'm always bouncing between the two. Like if I hear footsteps, look at the map. My teammates aren't nearby. Definitely an enemy. All right, I see exactly where he's coming from, and that's why I use long ears. But as far as the third one, you can really bounce between that. I really want to actually push this. Make sure you guys equip double time, because once you actually master that maneuver, it is really good and you can win a lot of gunfights with it, even if they get the drop on you first. Now for secondary weapons, I always like running the EMP launcher, primarily because if I have any like annoying kill streaks or drones inside of the sky, I can always knock those out. UAV drones, jammer drones, or even something like a Hellbird. And also at the same time, it doubles as a good ground killer in case they have like a Reaper drone. So EMP launcher, I would always recommend that. Lethals, I have been testing out a few other lethal grenades, but so far I'm really been enjoying the explosive knife. Throw it as far as you possibly can, and when it only detonates once it actually attaches to a target. I really do like that. For tacticals, I have been using the tear gas, but I'm actually going to say I would not recommend the tear gas. It does throw off the enemy vision, but it doesn't really do enough to throw them off in order for me to get the kill. Like there's many times where I've died with someone who's been affected by my tear gas. So I'm thinking about switching to the decoy grenade, or the flashbang works perfectly fine. I think I might actually go back to the flashbang for a bit, but that's what I use for those. To finish it all off, I guess would be just the ammunition. I just always been running armor piercing rounds. I find that much more useful and convenient other than hollow point, because I feel like hollow point is for people who can't really win a gun battle face to face. If you're confident in your aiming, I would say just go armor piercing rounds, because even if they take cover, your bullets can still go through some surfaces. However, remember, some surfaces, not all surfaces. So that's overall what I think about that. But as far as the SCARH, it is a high skilled weapon in the hands of the right player. You can definitely destroy with it. Very few guns can out damage you, so definitely that's a huge plus in it overall, and that's what I do. I would recommend it to a few people if you really want to challenge with it, but I just don't have the patience for a weapon like this with a slow rate of fire like that. But maybe it is for you. Give it a try. But if you like what you see here, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, everyone.